But first, to a knight of the realm, a king of comedy and the ultimate globetrotter.
Absolutely. Sir Michael Palin tells us about his latest adventure in just a moment. But first, we thought it'd only be fair to have a little look back and remember one of the many adventurers around the world that he shared with us.
This is the Zen Buddhist temple of Butsuji. It's been a place of silence and meditation for 600 years. It takes place in an old wood-beamed hall, the Zendo. The monks live here. Each one has a tatami mat 3.5 feet wide and 7 feet long. Just as I'm wondering what it must be like to be hit so hard, I'm offered the chance to find out. He really can't do enough to make me comfortable. And in the true spirit of Zen, I thank him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Made to make your eyes water.
Literally.
Whew.
There we are.
And Sir Michael Palin's here now with a brand new adventure and a brand new book to enjoy. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. I'm
How amazing
to be here.
watch these clips back. I think you actually got a whole generation infected with the travel bug. When you started doing, I remember in '89 when you did Around the World in 80 Days, and I would watch it religiously.
Obsessed with it.
Because it was all the adventures all over the globe.
At the time, I was really worried whether it was going to work at all. Going off around the world, 80 days, with a camera following everywhere. No script.
No.
Didn't even know quite where we were going.
It's almost
So I
like
had
the
to
original reality show.
Yeah.
Yes, well, I just had to make it up as I went along. And you know, it was... in the end, the things that didn't work, the failures, like being unable to buy a ticket at Alexandria Station because I can't speak Egyptian.
Yeah.
I mean, this worked very well. And the camera just kept going in my discomfort, and it was... People loved that.
Yeah.
People
So
loved the show.
it was quite a relief, as you'll find out one day, you know.
Absolutely.
Things going wrong, people like more than things going right.
Oh, well, trust me, we know on this show, we love it. Michael, you have been everywhere, and there's clearly no stopping you because, I mean, you're even filming a new adventure show pretty much now, aren't you?
Well, I've just come back from Africa, from West Africa, doing a 3-week shoot for a series for Channel 5,
I know you can't give too much away, but did you have a good time?
Well, I don't want to say exactly where, just because at the moment we're putting it together and it'll come out sometime in the spring. But I actually did it, and I was 80 years old. I thought, I can't do this. You know, people are already saying, didn't you used to be Michael Palin? So I have to deal with that. But I managed. I was all right.
But in this series, you're not getting hit by any sticks or anything?
No.
I watched you watching that, very Wincy Willis-esque. Like,
well, fortunately, I'd been to public school, so I was prepared for all that.
He's used to. And actually, you've gone on a personal discovery with your new book.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful book, and you've kind of been a detective piecing this all together.
Yeah.
This is about your great Uncle Harry.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it started from one photo, which is actually
This one
on the
that's
front of the book, amongst a whole pile of archive stuff that had been given by a great-aunt.
Yeah.
And I asked around, and I said, I didn't know we had any soldiers in the family.
No.
Who was this? And he said, oh, that's Uncle Harry, died in the First World War. End of story. And somehow there's something about his look in that photo there that made me feel, I want to know more about this guy. Why is he just, oh, he died in the war, that was it? Where did he come from? What was his life like? And I was helped by all sorts of things. I mean, mostly because he'd left a diary of his time when he fought at Gallipoli and at the Somme, and that's fascinating.
And how long has this taken you? Because obviously, when it's your own family, it's your own journey, if you like, finding out about your great Uncle Harry, you obviously have more of a vested interest in that because you're like, oh no, this is my bloodline. Yeah,
I mean, you start from nowhere, really, just that photo. So, and gradually piece things together, and you look at family records, and one name leads to another name. And I got one amazing piece of luck was I found a letter that had come through the archive from my own father at the age of 15, writing to his parents and saying, I've just got this magazine about the invasion of Gallipoli. And it's showing our troops, the Anzac troops landing. And I think the character on the front, I'm sure that's Uncle Harry.
No.
And
Wow.
this was amazing, because he was 15, so he would have known Uncle Harry for 15 years. So that was a sort of thrilling moment. And in fact, it was the character that they'd used, painted in, was Uncle Harry.
No way.
And that was confirmed because the film director, Sir Peter Jackson, helped me an awful lot, because he has an enormous database about the First World War.
He's got a massive interest in that,
I mean,
hasn't he?
his own great-uncle was in the war.
Yeah.
And he said, send me one good photo, and if you can send me any detail about the platoon, a tiny unit your great-uncle was in, I'll find some photos of him. And he did.
Wow.
He found 2 photos, so... he looks a bit like you, actually, great-uncle Harry.
Poor man.
That's
all he needs.
But what's so interesting, I'm listening to the audiobook as well at the moment, which is lovely to have you actually recount the
it's
story.
quite emotional.
It's lovely. And you've made him into a real whole person. He's not a 2D character or a statistic anymore.
No.
What did you learn about him?
Well, I learned that he wasn't a great success. He didn't pass all his exams. He wasn't very good in business. All these things he was sent to do by his well-meaning middle-class family.
Yeah.
He was a drifter. He just wanted to do his own thing.
And you say he's quite practical too.
He was quite practical, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, he ended up... They tried to get him various jobs out in India, running tea plantations and all that. In the end, he did his own thing and went off to New Zealand to become a farmhand.
Does this remind you of anyone?
But
Went off and did his own thing. I'm just looking at the symmetry, Michael.
You're very acute there. Yeah, it did remind me of you, yeah. No, that's a good question, because actually I found myself quite close to Harry by the end, and I thought we do share a lot. You know, I like to do my own thing. I've been very lucky to be quite successful doing my own thing. He was less successful. But I could see his spirit. And he didn't want to be bossed around by anybody. He didn't want to be put into any kind of job just because it was respectable. So good for him. And, you know, when he dies at the age of 32. And they actually had the description from the New Zealand military of the man who was standing next to him in the shell hole. And he says Palin stood up and was shot through the head and died instantly. So that was cool, you know.
Yeah.
After all the research and all that, that's quite a thing to have to take in.
Absolutely.
It is such a fascinating book. I mean, not only from the personal connection as well, but even if it could have been fiction, you know, because it just feels so storytelling.
Yes.
Oh, that's nice.
It really, really does.
Important to remember as well. I think it's very important to remember.
Yeah.
The book you dedicated to Helen.
Yes, my wife, my dear wife, who died in May.
Sorry.
And we'd been married for 57 years, you know, and every step of my life really was advised and supported by Helen. She was very, very good at saying, no, don't do this. You'll cock it up, won't work, you know, please, you know, just choose something you can do.
It's the people who love you the most that tell you the truth.
Yes, well, exactly.
Yeah.
And she was very good at
telling you the truth.
telling me the truth. So,
when you needed to be told.
Yeah, I mean, and she was, of course, brilliant, because I spent so much time travelling and the children were growing up. And she wasn't a great traveller herself, and she was just very happy to be at home with the children. So she was a support in so many ways, you know, it's just quite weird.
She really was your biggest champion,
not to be there.
She?
Yes.
We're so sorry to hear about that loss, and our researchers were obviously talking to you, and they said that the day that you sadly had to go and register her death, you had a bit of a moment.
It was an extraordinary moment, actually, because you know, when someone's died, there's lots of paperwork. It's very bureaucratic, and I had to take a death certificate to register it at Camden Registry Office. And I went in there and I was standing at the counter with my clutching my death certificate. And next door was a couple and had a little tiny baby he had clutched to his chest. You could just see the head of this little baby. I thought, that's really good, you know, that's one out, one in, you know? And it was a rather touching moment, that.
Full circle.
Quite extraordinarily, the people who, I didn't say anything to them at the time, they wrote me a little note.
Really?
And said, yeah, we live quite nearby, and that little child was Clara.
Oh, how lovely is that?
Yeah. So I feel very close to Clara.
I bet you do.
I bet you do.
Absolutely. And we know, like Kat said, the book is dedicated to your lovely wife.
Yeah.
It really is so interesting what you've done. I mean, there's so many things, Michael, we could sit here and talk to you about, but we would literally be here all day.
I've got nothing else to do.
Michael, you are more than... We've got some paneer coming up in a bit, if you're up for it.
Now that's worth staying for.
Well, the book is out now.
Great Uncle Harry.
Great Uncle Harry, and I can actually really recommend the audiobook too. It's brilliant if you like listening to Michael's dulcet tones. It's great.
Dulcet.
Thank you very much for
Pleasure.
joining us.
See you, Michael. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you.